Hello, how's it going? Hello, how's it going? Testing my audio. Audio sounds pretty good. Testing my audio. Audio sounds pretty good. Apologies for the echo. Hey, Jesse. First one here. How's it going, Jesse? I like the picture. Happy Saturday indeed. We got Sim V Lackrivam, John Carpenter in the house. What's up, everybody? Ricky, how's it going? So YouTube has this new feature. This is the first stream I'm doing with this new feature. Where I don't know, something having to do with these little crowns. It says top fans. I have no idea how this works. Let's see what it says. Top fans in XP. What's the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out in the community. Top three get special badges in live chat. It resets every stream. Okay, so this isn't like something where it carries over. Resets every stream. You get on the leaderboard by collecting experience points, by sending chat messages, sending super chats, super stickers. So I think on Twitch, this is something they've done for a long time, but it's more so just based on like gifting memberships and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. And that's something that I believe carries over as well in the community. It looks like this is for YouTube they're introducing. It's just based on not only like super chats, because that YouTube has memberships, but not related directly to live stream. So looks like it's just based on super chats, but also just regular chat messages. So we already got our top three there in the chat. What does it look like on the YouTube side? I'm curious if I pull it up. Oh, you can see it in the chat, the little crowns there. That's interesting. Well, hopefully that'll be fun. You get better if you spam. Yeah, that's an interesting point of it because they're just including like regular messages as well. So if you just come in and spam, do you get punished for that, or do they just give you experience for every message you send? That's kind of interesting. Um, but anyway, just hopping on here for a quick stream because I wanted to check out this feature, and also I just had a little bit of free time. I've been editing nonstop, and still after a few weeks, I'm getting caught up slowly but surely. Was finally able to hit, 3 YouTube videos this week for Star Trek, first time in a little while. So I'm glad about that. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday isn't necessarily my preferred upload schedule for that. So trying to get ahead of the ball there again, and on the uncut side, starting to get a little ahead as far as the Patreon stuff. So we are on our break right now. Our season break is only 1 week now for recap stuff, and that's happening right now over on Patreon. So we have finished season 1 of DS9 and season 6 of TNG. We are actually 3 episodes each into Deep Space Nine season 2 and TNG season 7. So that's where we are recording wise. Over on the Patreon, we are on that mid-season point. The first uncut reaction is early access tomorrow for the higher tiers, and then for everybody on Monday. And that'll be, I believe, TNG is first, with Descent Part 2, and then we go over to the Deep Space Nine 3-parter. So those will be starting this week. But yeah, I think I saw someone ask about it here in the chat. Yeah, Gavin. How's it going, Gavin? Let me see if I can get this pulled up here. You asked about it. How's full time going? Yeah, it's been crazy because I hit the ground running. For anyone that doesn't know, I had my 30th birthday stream back on the end of June, and my 30th birthday was my first official day of doing this channel full time. And that basically is going to mainly just include, editing, because the recording stuff is going to stay the same schedule. We do 3 evenings per week of recording. But in terms of just during the day, I worked in, a regular 7:30 to 4 shift, typically Monday through Friday. So that's just all been dedicated for the most part to editing now, which has been really nice, both from getting caught up, but also just not having to be on a computer 24/7, because for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been working 7:30 to 4, coming home, either recording or editing throughout the night, barely having personal time. And, I'm not going to complain or anything. I'm obviously very blessed to be in the situation, but it's just been nice now that I'm able to do full time to replace those office hours with doing this and having a little bit of, more free time, but as well, also just trying to dedicate more time overall to the editing side and the behind the scenes stuff to get the content out to you guys faster. There's still a lot of reactions. Just today on the Patreon, we did the early access came out for a movie reaction for the Bridge Crew. So our annual Bridge Crew Patreon members, that's our top tier. They get a movie reaction request, full watch along, and we have a bunch of those that we've done. And when it comes to posting them, it's been not the top priority because of Star Trek and everything. So I just posted one, the movie Defending Your Life from 1991. We watched that back in April, and I'm just posting that now. So just trying to get caught up on all that stuff. It will reach a point. Hopefully, it will reach a point here my goal is by the end of the summer to where not only am I fully caught up with the whole backlog, but also I'm actually ahead on both YouTube and Patreon. But it's going to just take a little while to get there. Still just being, a one-person show when it comes to editing for the most part. My wife does help as well, but I've given her a little bit of a break. She was basically editing all of our YouTube videos, when it comes to Star Trek reactions since we started TNG. So I would help once in a while when I could, but I was just so busy that she was doing them, and she has a full-time job. So, I was giving her a little bit of a break as I went full-time, but she's going to jump back in soon. Beyond that, I'm just one person doing all this. And, I was just able now to go full-time to support myself with it. So when it comes to like how hiring outside help, I've done one-off stuff in the past when I really needed it, but I can't really justify, obviously paying for outside help when I'm just now getting to the point of being able to pay myself. So, we're a ways away, but overall, I cannot complain at all. Things have been going great. You know, Dr. Butt Lasers, first super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Twin Peaks Brigade showing up to say Twin Peaks. Also, congrats on running full time as a content creator. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, Twin Peaks. I know you always bring this up, but a lot of people have been bringing it up, not just you, especially with some of the stuff we've been watching recently. I think Twin Peaks would be a great one for us to react to. As of right now, outside of Star Trek, it's hard for anything to get edited for YouTube just because of time. Besides one-off stuff once in a while, like we had the Superman movies coming. We actually just filmed a sit-down discussion review of Superman 2025 that will be coming out here as soon as I can edit it. But then reactions to Superman 3 and 4 are already on Patreon. I have to edit those for YouTube. And then we watch Superman Returns, and then we're going to watch the Richard Donner cut as well. So all of those are coming. But in terms of series reactions outside of Star Trek, we're doing The Expanse on Patreon. I'm editing those for Patreon as well. Those will eventually hit YouTube at some point, sometime in the future, but not right now. So yeah, it's just a lot. I think the main thing that I realized once I started going full time, and actually even before I made the jump, I'd say a few months ago, I really sat down and looked over everything we were doing, and I went, we have our hands on a lot of different stuff, and it's not even like to the point where we're doing what we want necessarily. Like I like what we're doing on the channel. Obviously, Star Trek's going to be always the number one, but it's like a lot of the stuff I don't even have time to get to. And we're doing, all these different things to try to grow the channel, give people good benefits on Patreon. And I think one thing I'm really going to try to focus in on over these next few months is get all of that caught up, get all of that finished. And then once we're to a point where that's all caught up and finished, everything we've promised, make that decision of, okay, how do we actually want to move forward here outside of the 3 Star Trek per week? Like, what else do we actually want to do on the channel? Horror Gallery is absolutely coming back and sticking around. Those uncut reactions have already started hitting Patreon in the last few weeks. I was hoping for a 4th of July premiere for that for YouTube, and obviously that came and went. Gonna get it started here soon, but again, that's just one of those things where we really want to do that. We've been banking a lot of reactions and haven't been able to get to it. So Alex has actually been helping on the editing side for those when he has the time, because he works full time, as you guys know if you watch his channel, his wrestling career as well. So he has a lot going on. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. That was a long tangent, though. I tend to do that sometimes. Anyway, how's everybody doing, though? Oh, Jesse Manning, thank you so much for the super chat. Suggestion for a new way to make money. That's always appreciated. Guest star tier. Bids placed for a fan to join you for an episode review. I know a few I'd bid on. Yeah, two main things that I would say reading that is number one, the I know a lot of you guys are really cool. We love you guys, but from our audience perspective, to bring someone on is so like first of all, even let's just say a creator, right? If we're going to collab with a creator, which we've been gotten requests for as well from our audience, that already is like, okay, if you're an audience member of ours and you don't know that creator or like them or whatever, that's already a barrier. So then to extend that, at least that person presumably would have an audience of their own. To then extend that to just a person who paid for it, that's really going to probably turn off a lot of people from watching that. Not anything against that specific person, but it's just that's not what they're on our channel to watch. So I'd be more open to, like, in the Bridge Crew, our top Patreon tier, we do a monthly hangout, a private monthly hangout where we all talk and stuff. That's something where you have access to us, and that's much more, I think that's a good benefit. I've thought about kind of extending that into maybe doing private watch alongs as well of some kind in the future. But in terms of actual content, that would be a huge probably turn off to a lot of people. And then secondly, if that was the case, then you're thinking on the financial side, okay, well now if it's going to be a video we know is not going to do well because of that, now the financial incentive really does need to be there. And realistically, just making that work is tough. I appreciate the idea. I think there's definitely a certain type of way to do that in some sense. We love audience participation. Obviously, patron takes is a huge thing we love, a very unique thing we do on this channel. And we have our Bridge Crew where I'm active talking to them every day. So we love audience participation and everything as much as we have a kind of back and forth trolling relationship with you guys in the audience. At the end of the day, I think you look at our audience participation, it's much more expansive than most of what you'll see out there from channels. But with that being said, there does have to still be that balance. Lost Monk, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, sir. Glad to see the channel is moving forward. Here's a few bucks for a cup of coffee. Thank you. Well, not huge into coffee, although we do have an espresso, and my wife makes some pretty good stuff. But we did stop at 7 Brew today, not sponsored, but this is a nice. I'm more of an energy drink person, zero sugar, obviously. So that's pretty good. 7 Brew opened up close to me recently. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. Appreciate it. Michael Nemo, thank you so much for the super chat. Random, but did you ever know that in Second Chances, one of the side actors, Dr. Mae Jameson, was an actual space shuttle astronaut? Kind of cool. Yeah, so I did not know that. We did get comments on it, though, on the Patreon when that posted. So now I am aware. And is this also the episode where I read that Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, was actually on set as well when they were filming that and met her? Is that real? I think I read that too, but that's pretty neat. The Truth. Hey, The Truth is our newest Bridge Crew member. Thank you so much for joining. We will be sending you your thank you video here in the coming weeks, and I hope you got joined up on the Discord as well. So thank you very much. But not sure if you saw my message on Patreon, but you do not watch the season 4 premiere of Deep Space Nine until you watch the Star Trek movie, Generations movie. I don't know the timeline of that. All I'll say is we're going to watch it in strict release order. So if Deep Space Nine season 4 premiere released before Generations, that's how we're going to watch it, or vice versa. We've always done strict release order, so that's how we're going to do it. But thank you so much for joining the Bridge Crew. There's still a few spots available on there as well. If you guys saw the thumbnail, he's behind me. Worf picked him up today. How do I get him to focus? There we go. Look at that. Pretty badass. I also got this 3-figure set here recently of the big 3. Pretty badass. Did I make that? No, I didn't make it. That'd be sweet if I had that kind of talent. Paper mache Wharf. Have you or Alex seen It's a Wonderful Life? It would be good for Christmas. I think you'd love it as a goated classic like 12 Angry Men. Yeah, if you watched our previous Christmas special this past year when we watched A Christmas Carol with Patrick Stewart, and we also listened to William Shatner's Christmas album, I think I talked about It's a Wonderful Life a little bit. I love It's a Wonderful Life. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can. I think it's over here. Let's see. Where is it? I have It's a Wonderful Life. One of my favorite Christmas movies. Huge fan of James Stewart, and Alex has not seen it, so that's definitely a good one for him to watch eventually. But even at this point, just with our audience, even when it's something like Christmas stuff, we still try to tie it into Star Trek in some way, usually, unless we're talking about the horror gallery. Edgar, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Just curious if you've thought about how you're going to approach the streaming error of Trek. I don't know if you meant error on purpose, like making fun of it, or if you meant era. But either way, um, yeah, we're going to obviously approach it release order. So if multiple shows are going on and they were released whole season same day, like how streaming usually was up until a few years ago, then we're going to watch that whole season at once. Not in one sitting, maybe, but we'll watch that all at once if it was released same day. If it was released weekly, like how some, Paramount Plus and some do now, then we'll still release order, however released. If there's a very weird situation where two different Star Trek properties released the whole season same day, I don't know. We'll probably just pick and watch one and then the other. But that's how we'll go. But thank you very much for the super chat. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of them. All right. And for anyone new here, if this is your first live stream by chance, all super chats I'll read as soon as I can right away. But for the regular chat, I'll try to read as much as I can. If you have a question or something you want me to read on screen, start your message with a Q. Shout out John Delancey. Like this one from Doombringer. Started with a Q, so I know it's something you want me to read on screen. I'll try to get to as many as I can, but super chats will always come in first. I know you expressed some concern about continuing the Bajor v. Cardassian arc. Now that you have seen the first 3 of season 2, how are you both feeling with the direction? Yeah, I feel like a broken record with this one, but basically for me personally, it always just comes down to the execution of it, which I know is my answer for everything, but it really is true. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't care what the underlying trope is. Like sometimes do some stories get overdone, like in TOS with the god complex way we would always talk about, right? Or a godly creature. Like sometimes it can be like, oh, another one. And I think that's how Alex was feeling a little bit with the Bajor stuff in season 1. But it just comes down to the execution for me. If I go into it, Deep Space Nine, I talk about this in our season 1 recap that hit Patreon this past week. Oh, it's just another one of the episode archetypes, but like now Deep Space Nine has new ones. So now it's a Bajor episode, or it's a religion episode, or it's a Cardassian episode. It just has new ones. So it's just getting used to those new archetypes. And within those archetypes, is it a good one or a bad one? For me personally, the Bajor focused episodes have been more good than bad. Now on YouTube, we just posted this past week The Storyteller, which is not wholly a Bajor episode, but it does take place on a Bajor village. Not the best, right? But that's not always the case. There's other ones that are, will be coming up here on YouTube soon that are very, very good. And I won't go full spoilers about the 3-parter and our thoughts on it, but I will just say we did enjoy it. And it being Bajor related did not hinder that. So, yeah, that would be kind of what I would say on it. I think we got another super chat. Long Hill Andy, thank you very much for the super chat. You seem to find things on your shelf quickly when we mention them. What is your organization method? Did you just go to the Christmas shelf? I've messed around with it over the years. So I started collecting Blu-rays in 2016. And you know, I have amassed, you know, to this point. Now I started with a few, especially in the horror realm, VHS and DVD as well. But as far as my Blu-ray stuff over here, and I've started doing more 4K, kind of pumped the brakes on buying Blu-rays because I have obviously plenty. Right now, they're just straight up alphabetical, except for the ones that are facing frontward. So at the risk of, I don't want to mess up my camera setup here, but the ones that are facing forward are just some of my favorites, but everything behind it, everything else is just alphabetical right now. Over the years, I tried doing like different genres or things like that, just when I got bored and wanted to reorganize it. But I like the way it is right now. They're all just on that one shelf there, and it fits. It's pretty much maxed out. So that's even why I have some of them facing forwards, because you know, there's not much room, and I don't want to spill it over into another shelf just yet. But so right now, it's just alphabetical. Same thing over here for the most part. It's mostly alphabetical. But thank you very much for the super chat, Andy. Edgar. Discovery and Lower Decks are released pretty much same time every season. Same time is in the same exact day? Or what do you I would need to know what you mean by that more specifically. Sorry if I missed it, but will tier lists be a YouTube Live? You didn't miss it, and yes, they will be. Still considering when to do that, because I like to, obviously we're ahead, and I like to do it as a nice balance of like, I don't want to get too far away from us watching the season. However, I also don't want to be too ahead on YouTube. So right now we have 6 Deep Space Nine episodes left, and then we just posted episode 21, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 TNG. So that's 9 episodes. So that's in theory 3 more weeks before we would hit the end of the season. I don't think I want to wait that long for the tier lists, but I also don't want to, you know, be too far ahead because of the spoiler aspect for what hasn't hit YouTube. Now, in the past, we've done pretty clear job of being like, hey, this is where we're at on YouTube. If you don't want to know what we think, stop watching here. So probably just into the last few episodes are remaining. So I would say maybe not this upcoming week, but maybe the following week would be the live tier listing, and it would be for both. Now that we're doing both shows, so we would do Deep Space Nine season 1 and then TNG season 6. The other thing with that is our audience tier listing, our patron tier listing, which is free. You don't have to be a paying member. You can sign up as a free member on our Patreon. No credit card required, just an email. And everyone can vote on those patron tier lists for the episodes. Those are getting posted with the YouTube videos. So that's another thing where it's like, I would like to have the tier lists for the audience ready when we do that live, but I just don't think it's realistic based on how we're doing things. So I don't know. Good question, though. Look at my camera's focus freaking out. Richard, we're now 6 months on from you being 100% right about Star Trek 6. Richard W. W's in the chat for Richard. Let's go. Let's go. No, thank you, but I don't care if anyone thinks we're right or not. But thank you. It's appreciated. How do you look back on that chapter of the channel now? That's ironic, Richard. I don't know if you saw this on the Patreon chat when we just talked about it recently. It was in the target demographic chat, so for the higher tiers. But I did mention January was a tough month. It was a tough month. Posting Star Trek 6 uncut on Patreon. Definitely our biggest exodus of members when that was posted that we've experienced. Now, don't worry. The haters didn't win. We still overall, we still grew. We've still never had a month where we've lost more than we've added on Patreon or obviously on YouTube. But that was a tough one. And that was definitely a moment of season 5 wasn't really that great up to that point of TNG. Star Trek 6 was obviously a bummer after we had been looking forward to it for so long. And then the audience response to our thoughts on it. And not everybody, or not even a lot of people at all, but just those few that, you know, instead of talking about the merits of the movie, you know, rely on personal attacks. It's tough, but that's the business we're in. You know, that's what I wake up and deal with. That's what I've chosen to do. So it is what it is. It was a tough moment. But with that being said, I think overall, you know, since then, we've had a lot of good moments on the channel. That the start of Deep Space Nine, for example, has been overall very positive from a community aspect. I know season 1 wasn't the best season of TV, but the community aspect, and then also obviously season 6 of TNG for personal morale. I was my favorite season of Star Trek thus far. After season 5 had kind of gotten me down on it, so yeah, overall, it's been really great since then. But yeah, I wouldn't quite go as far as to say it was like the darkest time of the channel, but it was pretty low, a low point. Also, it was the middle of the winter, which here where I live in Ohio is just miserable, and it gives you seasonal depression every year. So that was kind of put on top of that. Plus, I was still working my full-time job. I mean, again, not trying to complain. These are just the reality of it. My life is very easy, but it did suck for sure. Doing much better now, though. And part of that is definitely that the sun is now out, which happens for about 3 weeks in Ohio. So I'm really appreciating it. When you finish TNG season 7, you guys should give your thoughts on how Picard and other characters developed for you. I remember season 1 Picard, you were not impressed. Yeah, that's a great idea. And I'm just checking. Okay, yeah, we're good. I think we'll definitely do that, character stuff as part of the recap. Our recap for season 7, it isn't just going to be a recap video, a 30-minute recap video, and okay, we're moving on from TNG. Like, there's going to be an extended break of going back through TNG and doing retrospectives of a first time watching. So, both on the YouTube and the Patreon side, I'm just letting everyone know far ahead of time. Come, what would that be? Probably October or so, we'll finish it. Expect a little bit of an elongated break, probably coinciding with the holidays, to get through all that. But with that being said, yeah, that's definitely something I'd love to do. Kind of character stuff, maybe character tier lists as well. Also doing comparisons to TOS, and just stuff like that. So, and then not right away because we do release order, but then we'll be getting those TNG movies, and I am very, very excited about that. Sir Coyote, thank you for the super chat. Which one-off village leader would win in a fight? Village leader? Are you talking about Bajor? Which one-off village leader? I mean, have we seen any others outside of the storyteller? Have we seen Bajor villages? I mean, hasn't hit YouTube yet. It's going to hit in a few days, but Progress, that guy wasn't a village leader. You'd have to give me some more. Ruropente in Ohio. Yeah, that's basically late October to early May is Ruropente in Ohio. Fedor, how do you feel they can make Jake Sisko different from Wesley, and what steps do you hope they take with his character? I think they've done a pretty good job making him different from Wesley in personality already. Wesley was kind of like boy genius, that type of stuff. Most of his character was based on what he did in the ship and for Starfleet. Jake is, I don't think through the first season at least, done a single thing related to Starfleet. And I like that all of his plots are pretty much disconnected, with Nog and stuff. There might be some thematic tie-ins, but I think they've done a good job just making him a kid on a space station. That's all I really want to see, a teenager on the space station. That's good with me, especially with Nog. We love Nog, hilarious. And I think they're doing a pretty good job. And as far as steps I hope they take with his character, obviously, please no spoilers, but I hope that he's there the entire show. And with the show being 7 seasons and him being a teenager, that obviously means we're going to be seeing those coming of age years into a young adult. And I hope we get to cover some of that, what is it like in real life growing up in the Star Trek world, but more specifically on Deep Space Nine in a space station, socially, culturally, what does that look like? I hope we see that from Jake Sisko, because Wesley, growing up, on the Enterprise for 5 years. Uh, you don't really see much of it. I mean, because of the ship, first of all, and we don't really get much into the lives of anyone outside our main crew. As far as social or anything, probably Wesley's one of his best episodes was coming of age in season 1, just because we got to see him, interact with Mordock and that one girl, and all that at the test for the academy or whatever. So hopefully we get to see more of that type of stuff from Jake. Got a couple more super chats here. Long Hill Andy, that dude Data had to convince to evacuate bad ADR. Yeah, Ensigns of Command. I think someone else said that too. Yeah. Are those our two options? The guy from the Storyteller from Days of Our Lives, or the guy from Ensigns of Command? Because I don't think either of them would win in a fight, really. Star Trek Iborg. Hey, I was just joking with you on Patreon. I hope you didn't take offense. I didn't take offense. And here's something about me personally. Plus, if you're ever reading a comment that's either on YouTube in the comments or on Patreon, it's 99% of the time me. Once in a while, Alex will respond if it's like something directly related to him, but he mostly lurks. So it's mostly me responding. I am never serious, ever. Everything is a joke to me. Literally everything. Everything I say is a joke. And my whole purpose in the community is to try to make sure no one takes anything seriously. Like, that's literally my primary goal. So if anything I ever say in any comment, you think I'm pissed off or like coming at you, I'm not. I'm literally laughing my ass off. So, the only times you'll know if you truly make me mad is if like you get blocked, which I don't do that often. I think I've blocked one person on Patreon who was just ridiculous. But on the YouTube side, of course, some people get shadow banned, but you're dealing with, unhinged people. So for the most part, anything I ever say is purely a joke. I don't, I'm not talking to you specifically, Star Trek Iborg, but I've had plenty of people come to me in the past who think that maybe I was mad or maybe that I'm like coming at them. And, every time it's like, no, it's just, I know things are hard to interpret over text. So I'm just laying out a flat principle. I am never serious about anything. So, comments on the internet, especially people on Patreon who have already paid money to access this site and be able to even talk to me in the first place, I'm not taking anything personal. I also find it hilarious when someone does like try to make a joke, at our expense, and then I come back with a joke at their expense, and then they respond with like, "Whoa, dude, don't be so sensitive, bro." And it's like, I'm literally just trying to go back and forth with you. It's not serious at all. Reality Strikes. Looking back on season 1, what did they do that you don't want to see in season 2? Well, thank you so much for the super chat, $10. I really appreciate that. What did they do in season 1? Obviously, I'm guessing you mean Deep Space Nine, that I don't want to see in season 2. That I don't want to see. I'm not gonna throw in the technical stuff because I mean, first of all, I'm sure the technical stuff will get better as the show goes on. But like stuff like ADR or bad special effects, I won't go too far into that. But those are obvious. Those are the first things that come to mind. Those are gonna make me mad. Not mad, but I'm not gonna like those in anything, right? But as far as the actual show itself, maybe the only thing I can really think of is like try to do more stories that make sense because of the characters in the show and not typical sci-fi stories that you're just supplanting into Deep Space Nine. And so, like, what I mean by that is I know people have commented a lot of season 1 scripts were TNG scripts that never got made. And anytime you do that, I know that they try to make it work when they it's not like they take the script and don't change anything. I know they try to make it work, but I want more stories motivated by the characters in the show. Like in TNG, especially in season 6, so many of those stories make sense for the characters that are focused in that episode. And we do get some season 1 episodes like that at Deep Space Nine, especially the Kira ones. But in season 2, I would love to see more of like, make it make sense that this is a story that would happen to Commander Sisko, or it makes sense it's happening to Dr. Bashir. Not just, oh, this is clearly a script that was out there, maybe a TNG one or otherwise, and we just put it in here. That's the main thing I want to kind of get away from. Thank you so much for the super chat. Will the movie lottery return after getting caught up on Bridge Crew? Yeah, so honestly, the Bridge Crew movie reactions aren't even like the thing holding us back from the movie lottery. We did do a drawing a few months ago. Timothy over on Patreon won the drawing and he picked True Grit from 2010. We will be watching that and that will be coming. So it's not even a matter of necessarily the Bridge Crew movies, even though, yes, those did take priority. But yes, it will be coming back. It used to be something that was a monthly thing that, we enjoyed a lot. But at that time, we didn't watch any movies on the channel. And really at that time, like when we were starting TNG, we really didn't watch anything outside of Star Trek. So doing that movie lottery was just like the one thing we got to do that was like, hey, let's do something different. Now with so much stuff that we're doing mostly because of our patrons, the Expanse on Patreon, the horror gallery stuff, which that's not from you guys, that's me and Alex who want to do that. So that's our passion project. And then these Bridge Crew movies, and plus some miscellaneous stuff we do. It's just, the movie lottery kind of fell to the wayside. I tried at the beginning of the year to like, oh, what if maybe we did the drawings live on YouTube and we also edited the reactions for YouTube? And I just could never get to those, unfortunately. So, that fell by the wayside as well. But again, that is on the schedule now that I'm doing full time to get to those. Once I get caught up with Star Trek and get caught up with all the other stuff, the movie lottery, we're going to watch True Grit. We're going to, hopefully, I'm going to go back and edit the ones I haven't yet. So in the past, we did Flash Gordon. We did Paper Moon. There might have been one other one that I didn't edit yet, but it might just be those two. I'd have to look back. But definitely want to still do those and edit them for YouTube. And then True Grit would be the next one. And then once we get caught up with that, probably in the fall or maybe even the holidays, but we will go back to doing that lottery as often as we can. Probably still won't be monthly because, again, we're only recording 3 days a week. And, over a course of a month, that's about 12 to 15 days. So a lot of that is dedicated to Star Trek. And that's what I want. And that's what most of everyone else wants. So that's not changing. But then once the Star Trek chunk is taken out of it, there's only so many days and we're watching The Expanse or, doing other stuff. So long-winded answer, but yes, it is still a thing. I wouldn't even say, it is a return, but in a sense, not really even a return. It's still a thing and we will do it when we can. But I've tried to build in more benefits to the target demographic tier that aren't just the movie lottery. The movie lottery is just like a nice little special bonus, but I don't want anyone to be like signing up for that tier specifically for that benefit because it's not something that we're going to be able to do all the time. Oh, got some more super chats, it looks like. Good old Joe Concepts, classic. Long time fan here on the channel. Appreciate it. No spoilers, but I'm sure you guys will love the development of Jake and Nog. They are very unique characters for Trek. Well, thank you very much, and I hope we do. I mean, like I said, I think the storyteller reaction just went up on YouTube, and if that's the last one you're seeing, we weren't super high on Jake and Nog yet, but I will just say as a tease, if you're here on YouTube, the rest of the season, we enjoy their stories very much and are very high on them by the end of the season. So I'm definitely all in for here, season 2 with them. I think they've only shown up in the first 3 episodes, I think once. I think they were both in episode 3, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, very, very into it. And thank you for the super chat, Joe. The Truth! Bridge Crew member, The Truth, another super chat. Thank you. Is it okay to let you know which episodes of DS9 to skip in the opening credits so you're not spoiled on who's in the episode? So, this is something I've talked about before. We are watching it exactly how it is and exactly how it was released. We do that the same reason that we watch it in release order. We want the purest form of watching it as closely as we can to watching on TV as it came out. Obviously, there are some differences, like when we watch TNG, it's remastered. Like there's, obviously it's not exactly the same. But for the most part, we stick to that. So with that being said, yes, we get mad at opening credits. Like, yes, we get mad when things are spoiled in a certain way. But we are not going to alter the show or movie or whatever we're watching to make for a better reaction. We're just not going to do that. So when it comes to skipping opening credits or not watching intros, or some people have even suggested like editing and blurring out certain things, we're not going to do any of that. One, just because that's our stance on it. But two, we would forget anyway, most likely. Most likely. We would forget what episode to do it. So that's my answer to that. So you don't need to let us know because we're not going to do it. And if it turns out that William Shatner is in an episode of Deep Space Nine and they put it in the opening credits before they put him on the screen, that's Deep Space Nine's fault. So we will bitch about it, but we're not going to avoid it. Uh-oh, Badger coming in with the dangerous $2 super chats. Shave your beard challenge. 25 subscribers, 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, I'll just say this. I mean, my beard goes, I'm not as diverse as Alex when it comes to the beard. He's always doing something. For me, it's usually pretty much just your typical full beard. Sometimes I'll trim it down. Sometimes it'll be a little bit longer. I don't think any of you want to see me clean shaven. It's not something that should be revealed. Maybe if I were to get into better shape a little bit, but that's not something you want to see. There are even times where I trim my beard and it's too short, and I go, "Oh, this is hideous." You don't want to see it, so I prefer the artificial framing of my face with the beard. So I don't think it would be a good reward because I don't think it's anything anyone would want to see, to be honest with you. Yes, we can all see your messages, Junkman. I'm not sure why you thought otherwise, but we can. Would you want to watch an episode with a Star Trek cast member? Oh shit! I didn't know what you meant at first. I'm like, don't they all have Star Trek cast members in them? But yes, that would be amazing. God, that'd be weird though. That'd be so weird. I'm just imagining us like reacting to an episode and like all of the inside jokes and memes that we have that this cast member would know nothing about. That would be hilarious. But I would like to eventually. You know, it's so hard with spoilers, dude. Like it just really sucks because like I would love to start a Star Trek podcast right now, and be able to talk to people. Yes, cast members would of course be awesome, but also just like anyone involved, like, directors, screenwriters, any of those things. And just the reason we haven't done that or don't do it is just because we're on this journey and like the risk of tainting that with, interviewing somebody and something being said. It's just like, it's just not unfortunately worth it, in my opinion. So once we finish, I think finishing the TNG movies, uh, which I think coincides with also Deep Space Nine being done and pretty much being done with most of Trek up through Enterprise. I think Enterprise is still going. I think at that point we would probably be pretty safe. But the bad part of that is it's still a few years away, which really sucks because I would love to really be able to talk to some more people. And plus, like, go to Comic Cons and everything like that. So that's definitely in the back of my mind. But overall, yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Even if it wasn't a first time watching, going back and revisiting something with someone who was involved would be awesome. You could just insist on reading the comments. Are you talking about because of spoilers? Oh, you just insist on reading the comments. Are you talking about if we interviewed somebody? Yes. Well, I mean, the comments are always a problem. But I'm talking about, I mean, we bring on, I don't know, it's top of my head, David Livingston, and we're talking to him about a Deep Space Nine episode, and then he just happens to bring up something that happens later in Deep Space Nine, like not not purposely trying to spoil it, but it's like, he brings up, oh yeah, it's like when we did this, and we haven't gotten there yet. It's just then it becomes an awkward situation, and it's just like it's not worth it. So that's what I mean by it. Or interviewing a cast member about the show, and then they bring up something in the movies, and I'm not even saying like directly plot related, but just like, oh yeah, it's like when we did Generations, and it's like, then we have to awkwardly be like, oh well, we didn't see, it's just I'm probably overthinking it, to be fair, but yeah. That junk man, what do you want to see for the TNG final? Like it's a test, the TNG final. I got to study for it. Thank you for the super chat very much. I just want to see a good. I have no idea. Don't spoil it. but I hope that they knew it was the end of the show, which I think they did because they were making movies. I'm pretty sure, like right when the show ended. It's not like TOS, so I'm pretty sure they knew. I just hope that there's an awareness of that and that it's properly done as a closing of the show. That's really all I'm hoping for. That's what I'll need. I don't even need it to be like a classic best of all time episode. Like I just want it to be like, be aware this is the last one you're doing and like treat it appropriately. That's really my only. Are you enjoying your 30s, old man? Thank you, Bryce. Yeah, I turned 30 a few weeks ago. Do I feel different? No. Um, and it is what it is. I guess I don't know, man. It's weird. I just went to a store today and I asked myself, I was like, why do I always gravitate towards things that are, probably looked at as so immature, in terms of like things that I buy. I mean, you look behind me and like I have toys and shit. And like, I know I'm not the only one. I know this is a huge market of, American overconsumption. Like, it's not just me, but like, sometimes I do think like, why is my generation, like I'm 30 years old and I'm sitting here buying toys? I mean, I have, you know, I have 3 different Kane action figures. Like, is that necessary? Like, no. But I don't know. So that maybe that makes me feel a little bit younger than I am. But I feel like everyone's kind of just feels like a kid. Like I feel like you can be 70 years old and kind of feel like a kid still. No one really knows what they're doing or what being an adult is supposed to feel like, and everyone just kind of lies about it. So I don't know. Not to get too existential on you. Allie says 30s are the best or a great decade, maybe the best. I'm gonna try to make it the best. I'm gonna try to make it because we all know by 40, this channel is gonna be washed up for sure. So, gonna make this decade the best one, hopefully. Did you go to Sandusky to find if they opened yet? As far as I know, I have gone to Sandusky. So what David's talking about here is the Neutral Zone, which was a Star Trek thing, moved recently to Sandusky, which is not right near me, but it's a little bit of a drive. It's in Ohio, and I actually talked to them last fall, the owner of it, and he said that they're looking at December, most likely January, to open, and we were going to maybe do something together, and then they just haven't opened, and there hasn't been any updates on their GoFundMe or anything, and I don't know what's happening. I reached out a couple times afterwards by email, no response, so don't know, but would love to. The stuff is there in Sandusky, and it says coming soon, and they have signs and everything. So like something is happening. But I would love for when it opens to be able to, whether it's just shoot a video there or they do like tours and stuff, do anything like that content related to be able to show you guys. And I'm not asking them. I told them on the phone when we talked, like I'm not trying to get money or anything. Like I'm just doing this because I want to make the content for you. So hopefully that's something they're interested in. If we ever did any kind of real life meetup, meet and greet or anything, I think that'd be a cool place maybe to do it. But that's all just ideas at this point. So, but what's already there and already been there for a long time is a place called Federation Headquarters, which is a volunteer run Star Trek store, which I do go to and is very awesome, and I buy stuff all the time. And that's there, so I still go there regularly and visit that. Star Trek Iborg, another super chat. Thank you so much. I love you, but you're still wrong. Do you think you'll edit and pot the other Bridge Crew movies, i.e., Excalibur, The Changeling? Unless you hire someone, your available free time won't improve. Well, I mean, that's definitely true at the end. I mean, I'm doing this full time now, so as far as my free time, it is what it is, right? But as far as the editing, the other stuff, when it comes to Bridge Crew movies, I think there's 2 scenarios where it's more likely you'll get edited for YouTube. And Star Trek Iborg, your movie is one of them that's likely to be edited. The Changeling is what Star Trek Iborg requested when he became an annual Bridge Crew member. We watched The Changeling, loved that movie, but the reason that it's likely to be edited is because it can fit into the horror gallery. So anything that's horror or horror adjacent, thriller, supernatural, sci-fi horror, anything like that, is likely to be edited for the horror gallery. Ravenous, which Bridge Crew member James requested, is another one that fits in. So those absolutely. The other possibility, if it's just something that is just like blows us away, absolutely amazing, and I think there might be a market for on YouTube. So that would be the other example. Something like this isn't a Bridge Crew one, but like I said, we watched Flash Gordon. That'd probably be a good edit because our reaction was pretty fun. Maybe not Excalibur because we didn't really dig that movie. We enjoyed parts of it, but it's a long movie that we just kind of sat through a lot of. So maybe not that one, but ones that we've like really, really thoroughly enjoyed. Maybe they're not Star Trek related or horror related, but they're just that good. That would be the other possibility. Besides that, I'm going to say 75% of the movies we watch, they're going to remain full watch along on YouTube, at least for the time being. If we grew to a point where I could pay someone as a full-time editor to just edit movie reactions, I'd love to get those up on the channel too, but it's just not possible right now. So, I mean, we have over 50 non-Star Trek movie reactions full watch along on the Patreon. You can go watch right now, dating all the way back to the beginning of the channel, the virtual era. So, that's always a big piece of what's cool about the Patreon is that whole backlog of content you get to watch. Any of those movies that you're, interested in watching along with us with your own copy. But that's my answer there. But thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you for requesting the Changeling. That was awesome. Fours are for crashing out. I plan on it. All guys think they're still 18. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, 16 sometimes. Why did you stop adding the original commercial episode teasers? Something that you'll learn about us if you watch our content for long enough is it's never going to stay the same for long. To be completely honest with you, I think from season 4, so season 4 of TNG is when we started putting everything back into one video, reaction, discussion, patron takes. So from season 4 through now, season 6, Deep Space Nine, there's still been some changes, like with how we do the whiteboard and stuff, but overall, content-wise, this has been probably the longest stretch we've gone without dramatically changing our format. Something about me personally is I always am looking for how can we make this better. I never want to be stagnant. And anytime the numbers on YouTube start to get stagnant, I think to myself, what do we have to do to change to get better? And not all of those changes are going to result in things getting better, but not putting in the episode teasers, that was one of those things where when I was changing the format of the videos, I just thought to myself, is this something that still fits here or is it just filler? Because it's not content we create. We're not making those teasers. They're all just available if you want to go watch them on YouTube or anywhere else. I'm not adding anything of value to them by just putting them in the episode. It was, I guess, neat when we were reacting to them in real time, but we stopped doing that. So it didn't make sense to remain in the video. It's just one of those things. But if that's something that, a lot of people say, oh, I missed the episode teasers. Those were so cool. We didn't make those. Like, you can just look those up and go find them. It's like the same thing when people get disappointed that we cut out a certain part of the episode. Oh, they didn't put in the best line. Well, maybe we didn't react to that line. And, my job as a reactor is to edit the reaction to my reaction, not the parts of the episode you like. Now, ideally, those would line up. Ideally, we would react to all of those parts you enjoy, but that's just not realistically how it works sometimes. And so we don't put in stuff that we don't react to. You can just go watch the show. Or if you really, really want to know, hey, how did you react to that line? Even though obviously it wasn't a big reaction, it's not in the video, there's the full watch along on Patreon, and maybe you'll see how exactly we took that, even if we didn't visually react. So, this is kind of the same thing there. But like I said, I have tried recently to kind of calm down on changing things so frequently, because the more backlog of content we get, I can see the confusion. As if you come to our channel today and start from the Man Trap, there's so many different ways that we've done the content that it's like it can get a little bit confusing. I do my best with playlists and stuff to group everything together, but I've tried to make things more consistent, but I'm always going to be trying new stuff, always trying different stuff. So that just is what it is. All right, got a few more super chats. Edgar, will you be watching any of the Trek documentaries? Yeah, all that type of stuff is definitely like, post first time watching that, we're definitely up for. We did the 25th anniversary special of Star Trek, which was kind of like a documentary. If things come up in release order that I think makes sense, we'll watch them. I'm pretty sure there are some TNG documentaries or TV specials that were released, in release order alongside the series ending, I believe. So we might watch some of those. But in terms of stuff that was released way later, it's in that post bucket of finishing it for the first time. When we're done, when we've caught up through Enterprise, or when we're watching Enterprise on its own, we're gonna have a lot more time to do that kind of stuff, free of spoilers. Again, once we finish the TNG movies, it's kind of the finish line for that. So at that point is when we'll, dip more into that stuff, hopefully. But you got to be here. You still got to be part of the community to request that. The truth, another super chat. Thank you so much. Non-Star Strike question: have you seen Superman yet? If so, what did you think? I've seen it twice now and loved it. Yeah. So yes, we've seen it. I said earlier in the stream, but we did just this past week. Alex and I record a discussion that'll get posted as an audience cut video of the new Superman. So I won't go full into thoughts on it because that's coming. But I will say that I enjoyed the film. Alex also enjoyed the film. There were things about the film that we both thought could have been done better, or not at all. And some of those were the same thoughts. Some of those we had different opinions. So it's a pretty good discussion. But overall, I will say it did its job as a film, and in terms of what it was trying to do. And anytime a film can make us talk about it for an hour, it obviously has some value. We didn't sit down and go, "Oh, this movie was nothing. I have nothing to say." We both wanted to talk about it, and yeah, I'd say just very basic thoughts. I enjoyed the movie. My biggest worry was James Gunn's humor that we've seen in Guardians and Peacemaker, and that not really fitting with Superman. And I thought the humor was pretty restrained, and the humor that was in there landed pretty well. And I don't think it was Superman being the main force of the humor. It was side characters, and I thought that was done well. With that being said, we're watching all the Superman movies right now, and up to this point, I think I've now watched every major wide release theatrical Superman, and no one comes close to Christopher Reeve. I think the new guy did a good job. David Cornsweet, I think his name is. I think he did a good job. I don't know if there's ever been anyone that did a bad job, but yeah, I mean, Christopher Reeve is just he's the guy, and Margot Kidder is Lois Lane, and Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor, and like it doesn't matter how much I enjoy these other iterations of them. It's not the original Superman. But I agree, I appreciate that it wasn't trying to be the original Superman. So it wasn't, Diet Coke version of Superman from the 80s. So I appreciate that, but it's just tough. And it's funny, I feel like this is a boomer take, but it's like, it's just not the same. It's just like, it's not the same magic. I don't know. Yeah, Dr. Bowers. Yeah, this is how it feels sometimes for sure. I don't think that's the case really, but for some people, yeah, it is what it is. Otis is the man, absolutely. Nicholas Hoult, pretty damn good as Lex Luthor. Yeah, I loved that his Lex Luthor was different than Gene Hackman. He wasn't trying to be Gene Hackman, and it was good. And it for like a modern Lex Luthor, I thought was really good. And it also, I really, really appreciated, because God, this is getting so cringe. I really appreciated that no one in the movie was like, here's a modern day figure pasted onto this person. So it's like Lex Luthor wasn't Mark Zuckerberg. He wasn't Jeff Bezos. He wasn't Donald Trump. Like, he was just Lex Luthor. And that seems so fucking rare in movies today. It's like, movie directors, movie writers, I don't give a fuck what you think about any real life person. Just make a fictional character, please. And I thought Lex Luthor did a really good job of that. Why are we talking about my chest hair? I'm a very hairy person. Take that for what it's worth. I used to shave when I was a pro wrestler because it's what, honestly, I don't even know why. Why do athletes shave? I don't know. Something with aerodynamics. I don't know. But I used to shave my chest and everything else, and but I didn't even. It's not like like Alex wears trunks. I didn't. I'm a bigger guy. I didn't wear trunks. I wore a singlet, so I guess I didn't really need to. Um, but I did, and now I'm just too lazy. Okay, one more Superman question, then we'll get back to some Star Trek stuff if anyone has questions. Ty says, "Is the new Superman better than Man of Steel?" Someone probably already asked this. I don't think anyone did ask it, to be honest with you. We also got some super chats. I think I got to get to. Oh no, nope, nope. We're caught up. Caught up on super chats. All right. Um, better than Man of Steel. So first, my general opinion on Man of Steel. I grew up with it. It was the first Superman movie I saw. It released when I was 18. So that's my perspective coming into it. I never loved Man of Steel. Like I was never a huge Superman guy. Not a comic book guy or really a superhero guy outside of like the most generic. Like I liked the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. I liked the Dark Knight. Like pretty it's obvious. But I never got super into it. It wasn't until Captain America: The First Avenger, which Alex and I walked one summer. The summer it came out, just decided to randomly walk to the movie theater, which was about 4 miles from our home, and just walk and watch it. And we were like, "Oh, that was really cool." And like Captain America: The First Avenger isn't that highly praised of a superhero movie, but for us as teenagers, we went and saw it. And we're like, "Oh, superheroes are pretty cool." So that got us into the MCU, and then obviously the Avengers blew our minds. So seeing Man of Steel, I was like, "Yeah, okay." Like I didn't understand all the backlash because I wasn't familiar with like the OG Superman. Like I knew of it obviously, but like I didn't, I was like, okay, yeah, Superman, that's cool, whatever. And unfortunately, I really haven't rewatched it. So we are going to rewatch it for our Superman series, even though we've both seen it. I say all of that to say I'm not really one to be able to compare them because of that. But I think Henry Cavill is a decent Superman. The movie tried to be like a darker, more grounded Superman. After seeing all the Superman movies, I just don't really think I appreciate the attempt, but I just don't think Superman out of any superhero character is the one to do that. Like it's very difficult because of the material, like he's so strong. Like he's Superman. It's so hard to like, I don't know, make it good when he's trying to be all whatever. With that being said, I thought the movie was competently made. I think Zack Snyder is a good film director. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is very, very good, especially for like the circumstances of that being made. It's actually insane. Like this is how crazy COVID was. Like think about that. Like if it weren't for COVID, Zack Snyder's Justice League would have never been released. And like it's a what is it, 4.5 hour saga, and it's like better than anything the DCU ever did. Like it's pretty crazy when you think about that. But overall, it's not my flavor of superhero stuff. So I probably yes do like the new Superman more, um, but not. I don't have a super strong opinion of that. The tornado scene, yeah. Alex and I still parody that all the time. Just we parody that, and then we talk about the what should I have done? Just let them all die? Maybe. Hi, Josh. Did you guys consider reviewing the TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling TNG Love Boat skit from SNL yet? Uh, no, no. We haven't. We don't really watch a lot of outside stuff like that, to be honest with you. Again, post Star Trek bucket maybe, but like right now when we're in the thick of it, like yeah, we're not watching. If you catch us on a rare live stream where we're open to watching something, but like we did that one time, or I think I did that one time where I was just doing a live taking links from the chat and the stream got taken down because like as soon as you pull up anything SNL or anything, even if it's old, it just gets taken down. So it's hard to do. And it's like I'm not going to do that on my own. Like we're not going to pull it up and watch it on our own. So our schedule is too tight. Paul, yeah. So again, I talked earlier about how stuff changes and how I change my preferences and the content. The AI songs, it was a fun era. It was fun to mess around with that. It's in the past. It's in the past. So it's not coming back. I know some people really enjoyed some of that. Some people aren't a fan of AI stuff. Whatever their opinion is whatever. It's cool with me. But I just, that's not something I'm looking to continue to do. And not because I think like AI is evil or something. I don't care about that. It's just not something I'm going to continue to do in the content. Heard Kick-Ass could be playing the next Bond. Are you talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson? James Bond? Webb says Cavill for James Bond. I have only ever seen Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. I saw Casino Royale as a kid in theaters, which I should not have seen that. I went with my friend for his birthday. His parents took us. That was rated R, wasn't it? Anyway, and then I rewatched it again a few years ago as an adult when what's the newest one that came out? It wasn't Skyfall, was it? Whatever the newest one that was coming out of James Bond. I was like, oh, I'll watch all of them and then go watch the new one. And then I watched Casino Royale, banger, just complete banger. And then Quantum of Solace, I know a lot of people don't like, but I was like, okay, this is still, I mean, this is a fine movie. It just felt like Casino Royale, the epilogue, not really its own film. But I was like, okay, yeah, it was all right. And then I just never picked up any of the other ones. So that is something post Star Trek that I think could be a cool, fun series. All of the James Bond films one day. Were you surprised at how quickly Vedic Wynn returned to start off season 2? Her villainy is again showcased here. Do you think we'll see more of her? And if so, what do you think we might see from her? Yeah, so just to reiterate, we've watched the first 3 episodes of Deep Space Nine season 2, which is the 3-parter, as well as the first 3 episodes of TNG season 7. So that's where we're at right now in terms of real time watching the show. And I thought Vedic Wynn, not surprised she returned so quickly, necessarily. I definitely knew she was going to return. Like, it was pretty obvious from the finale. But I really like how they used her. And because she's so hateable, but Jaro, and what's his last name? Essen? Esses? Someone tell me his last name real quick. Come on. Let's go. So someone put in the chat. What's his last name? But Vedic Wynn, I loved the dynamic she had. Jaro. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Okay. I love the dynamic between her and Jaro in the 2nd and 3rd episode, I believe it is. And I really like how they used her. So I am hoping, that she's used more in this villainous role. But she has some depth to her already that I like. Ennis. Or is it Essa? So Doombringer, you said Essa and then Ennis. Is it Ennis? Jaro Essa. Essa Jaro. Okay. Jaro Essa, I think. But then they go by their last name, don't they? So it'd be Jaro Essa, not Essa Jaro? But yeah, I think JMB has it spot on here. Hated Wynn, but enjoy her as a villain. Absolutely. And I loved Frank Langella as Jaro. Loved him. I mean, just loved him. Which is funny because he was also in Superman Returns, which we just watched. Hey, what's up, Xander? How's it going? Did you? It was a 3-parter. No. No, we did not. Not really a spoiler, but one of the unfortunate things about the patron takes is that, people assume a lot of things, and I try not to get on people's asses too much, and I want it to be a fun thing. I don't want the patron takes to be like some, not fun thing. So I let people have their fun. But in the part two of the patron takes, everyone just kind of assumed that we would assume that it was a three-parter. So when part two ended with the to be continued and we went to the patron takes, like everyone was talking about how it's a three-parter. So, you know, again, not that huge of a spoiler because as you start part three, it says the conclusion. Major Barra says now the conclusion. So right off the bat from the recap, it kind of confirms, yes, this is the final part. Because we didn't know, after part two, like we were asking, oh, is this a three-parter or is this just the show now? Like, is the show just to be continued? And then we get the patron takes, and it's like, oh, our first three-parter. Okay, well, you know, it is what it is. But going into it, no, we had no idea that it was a three-parter, and luckily that wasn't spoiled at all. There have been some comments just in the past, not directly related to this, but I've read some comments just referencing three-parters in general about Star Trek, but I had no idea when that was. So no, I did not know that. And the part two to be continued, the episode structure kind of tipped us off because you could kind of tell nothing was being tied up. And Alex specifically calls out during the reaction, is this going to be a three-parter or is this going to be a continuation? Because it did not feel like we were getting resolution. So we weren't shocked when that to be continued hit. But yeah, very surprising overall. I mean, the balls to start off season two with a three-parter. Massive respect. Got another super chat. Michael Nemo, thank you so much for the super chat. Like Roddenberry wanted Trek to be about a better human, Superman can be the same. It's not about his powers, it's about his unwavering goodness. Trek and Supes can help us strive for betterment, IMO. 100% agree. And the only thing where I draw the line is I'm always open to different takes of things. So, like when it comes to Star Trek, and some people being like, oh, whether it's Deep Space Nine or even like modern Trek, which obviously I haven't seen yet, but just like, oh, everything wants to be so dark and blah, blah, blah. And I get sometimes it can be too much. Like, not everything has to be dark and gritty. We definitely went through an era where there had to be everything. But whether it's Star Trek or Superman, like I like seeing the different takes of stuff as well as long as like the essence of it is still the same. And I think like Man of Steel, the essence of him was still that he wanted to do good. He wasn't Omni Man or Homelander. Like he still wanted to be good. He just struggled with that more. Um, so I agree, but I do like seeing the different takes on stuff for sure. Thank you so much for that super chat. And Reality Strikes, thank you for another super chat. How surprised were you that it was a three-parter? Okay, just talked about that, but yeah, Vario was very, very surprised. Just got another one. Chazarus. I think I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for the super chat. I like your profile picture there. When DS9 was broadcast on TV, the advertising spoiled a lot. And stuff like it being three parts was known. For a laugh, y'all should watch the ads. Yeah, maybe we will go back and watch them eventually. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. So you know, it is. First of all, see that's something, a three-parter. That's not even something I would blame them for spoiling because you're going to the second season of your show on TV. I don't know how well the first season was received when it was released, but you want to make sure people are staying for this three-parter. I, as a marketing person for that show, would absolutely be advertising the three-part premiere. Make sure to watch the three-part premiere, the conclusion. Whatever. I would absolutely be advertising that. So I wouldn't even consider that much of a spoiler necessarily. So that's not something I would. As to more like where the episode heads would be, spoil the whole plot of the episode. Of like when there's a twist, towards the end of the episode and they put it in the ad. That's hilarious. But it being a three-parter, I understand that. Let's see here. Let's give it up for looks what you got. Z Thomas 1 is the top fan right now. Reality Strikes is this number 2 fan, and then we got Michael Nemo is the number 3. Give it up to them in the chat. That's cool. Other super chat, Sid Hartha. Remember when I told you there were at least 8 seasons better than TNG season 4? Looks like season 6 is 1 down, 7 to go. Sid Hartha, thank you for coming back with that reminder. You're absolutely correct. 1 down. Season 6 is my new favorite season. So will there be 7 that will supplant season 4? Now, you didn't say it was better than season 6. I don't know if you have a prediction, if you have them ranked out, how many that you think are better than TNG season 6, but you were correct so far. 1 down. Will there be 7 more? Sid Hartha came in when we were talking about season 4, and I was saying it was the best one of all time and said 8 more are better. So we're keeping track. I'm keeping Sid Hartha, making them accountable. Josh, y'all are doing great. You've really won me over to season 6 of TNG with your informed enthusiasm. Well, Green Brown, thank you very much. Green Brown, I see you in the YouTube comments on every video. I know you're a regular watcher, longtime watcher. I appreciate it. You're always dropping some great knowledge, some great opinions in your comments too. So always look forward to those. And thank you for watching so much. We will still be watching you guys react to Star Trek in 2040. Haha. Yeah, hopefully. You know, it's interesting. I don't think reaction content is going to like just disappear or anything. You know, I think it's a pretty basic genre that's probably going to be around. But it does make me think like, you know, how long is it going to be of interest to people? But I guess when it's something like Star Trek that spans so long, you know, the interest will always be there to share that community, you know, and just like share it with people that you enjoy watching it with. So I think that's pretty awesome. But 2040, 15 years, that'd be pretty nuts. Tony says, what TNG 2-part would you like to have been a 3-part episode? That's a great question. We talk a little bit about TNG 2-parters in our discussion of the DS9 3-parter because what, I mean, way to absolutely put TNG to shame. You know, you come out, Deep Space Nine didn't have any 2-parters in season 1. They come out with season 2. They don't just do a 2-parter, they do a 3-parter, and it's so good. It's so well executed. It puts to shame every 2-parter TNG did that felt stretched out, that felt like it didn't need to be 2 parts, which is a lot of them, that had part 1s that were boring, that had part 2s that were disappointing. I mean, just put so many of them to shame to where it's hard to even look at the 2-parters of TNG that I did enjoy, like Chain of Command, Best of Both Worlds, and look at them and go, should this even be 3 parts? Like I look at Chain of Command, such a perfect 2-parter. Best of Both Worlds, the first one to do it. And I go, you make this 3 parts, it's probably getting stretched. It's probably not going to be as good. They work as 2-parters. You'll never know, obviously, but I can't even think of a single TNG 2-parter that I think would have worked better or even worked well as a 3-parter. The material just wasn't there. They weren't writing enough for a 3-parter, I don't think. And I guess maybe, and this is ironic because I don't even really love this episode, maybe The Chase, as a recent example, they tried to jam in so much. I read a comment that said Ronald Moore wanted that to be a 3-parter. Maybe you make part 1 the professor story, the tempting of Picard to go with him, and then that professor dies at the end of part 1, to be continued. Part 2 being The Chase, all of the different species going after the MacGuffin, to be continued as they're all getting there, as it's all climaxing there. The Romulans showing up, to be continued. Then part 3, you drop this bomb of the origin of humanoid species, what that means, how each species reacts to that. You know, the Klingons not believing it, the Cardassians being disgusted, the Romulans, you know, that speech with Picard, maybe one day, how each species takes this back to their home world, their government's reaction to it, Picard publishing that work under his professor's name as tribute, maybe even Picard getting some pushback about it. More of a political part 3. maybe that. But even as I'm explaining it, that part 3 sounds kind of thin. Like there's not a lot of action there, a lot of not action in the sense of like fighting, but like not a lot meat on the bone. It would really have to be like a deeply political thinker of an episode. So maybe that as a recent example, and I would have enjoyed that a lot more, to be honest with you, than what we got. Got some more super chats again. Thank you guys. Michael Nemo, as a psychotherapist and nerd myself, I advise to not beat yourself up about your collecting. Do what you love. If it becomes reflexive and hoarding, then pull back. Therapy and collecting work as well. Oh, well, thank you very much. You're a psychotherapist. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not, the thing with me is I've never been a collector for the sake of like collecting things and keeping them polished or boxed up. I mean, you look at the stuff behind me, I buy stuff not as like a valuable type thing. I just want it. Like I want to have it and play with it or watch it or read it or whatever. So I'm definitely not one that's gonna like keep things in boxes and all, and all that. Or like, you know, I do have some figures and stuff still in boxes just because I have no reason to open them and play with them. But for me, it's more about just having the thing and liking it. And so I've only pulled back when I felt it was like the hoarding thing, like my Blu-ray shelf behind me. I just got to a point where I looked at it and my shelf is full, and I go, do I really need more Blu-rays of movies I haven't even seen, or do I need Blu-rays of movies that I don't really love that much? And I switched over to now. Okay, now if I'm going to buy a new release film or even an older film that I don't have, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get it in 4K, because then it's like I'm making sure it's worth it. So that's kind of where I stand on it now for sure. Dr. Butt Lasers, Imaginary Friend Part 3. Yeah. Let's get 2 more parts of that atrociousness. Bryce says standalone episode guy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, I agree. I agree. Unless you're talking a serialized show. I mean, I look at episodes of TNG. My favorite one's Chain of Command. Maybe that could probably crack the top 10 of TNG for me, but like overwhelmingly, the single episodes are my favorite. So I can agree there. Yeah, great point here. I like that DS9 didn't give a game away with a 3-parter with episode titles, no part X, just unique titles. I loved that so much. Really enjoyed that, not just from the aspect of not spoiling it, but just the creative aspect. The Homecoming. What was it? We had the Homecoming was part 1, the Circle, and then the Siege. Right? Those were the titles, and they directly reflect what happens in those episodes. In 2-parters, a lot of the time, part 1, part 2. One Redemption 1, Redemption 2. It's kind of like, okay, you're not really setting these episodes apart from each other, which is fine. You're telling one story. I get it. But especially for a 3-parter, I like that, the Homecoming, the Circle, the Siege, describing what happens in them. I really was a fan of that. It's kind of like chapter titles almost. Reality Strikes, another super chat. Thank you so much. Are you going to release a 3-parter all at once or break it up? Please, all at once. Here's the thing. Let me think about it, because I've thought about this. So first of all, I'll say we recorded discussions for all 3. So let that be known. And the reason is, in release order, TNG was in between them. So we watched TNG episode 1, DS9 episode 1, TNG episode 2, DS9 episode 2, TNG episode 3, DS9 episode 3. So we did discussions for all of them. They were recorded essentially as separate videos. I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest with you. On the Patreon side, the full uncut side, they're going to be separate. It just is what it is. They're going to be separate. When it comes to YouTube, I haven't decided. if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm leaning towards they're going to be separate. It's just what it is. In terms of the release schedule, maybe we can do something to where I release them, closer together or whatever, but they're going to be separate, more likely than not. And just for the finale of season 6, just obviously on YouTube, I mean, you would know this if you've been here a while, but the season finale is a part 1. It's going to be separate because it's the season finale. So, Siddhartha, I missed most of your discussion about DS9's opening three-parter, but are you now wanting more three-parters in Trek, or was it too much? I don't think it was too much. However, I think it's a challenge. And I think they somehow pulled it off. And, especially with the character of Lee Alice, right? And I won't go into spoilers. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen it, but I won't go into it. But like Lee Alice, for example, has this 3-episode arc in that three-parter, and it's so well done. And being able to do that is hard. Okay, like that is very difficult to do in episodic television. In the 90s, I don't want it to get ruined by bad three-parters. Do I think there will be more? Yeah, there's probably more coming, and I'm not going to be mad about it. I'll see how they are. But I didn't come away from this three-parter, even though I really enjoyed it. I didn't come away going, I want another three-parter. However, I absolutely trust the show to where, if episode 4 and 5 was a two-parter, I wouldn't be against it. I'd be like, okay, I trust them now. They've earned my trust. There was a time where TNG had earned my trust when they did Best of Both Worlds 1 and 2, and then Redemption 1 and 2, and then came Unification, and then came Times Arrow. And it just kind of blew the, made it not good. So I don't want Unification and Times Arrow to happen in DS9, but it's probably going to, just realistically. I'm aware. Do both, release them separate, and then after the views fall off, release a single. This is a guy, Jack, we need you on the payroll. Email us, Jack. That's great. That's a great idea. Special edition. Now with even more discussion. Oh, yeah. No. Re-edit it. Edit each one individually. Then re-edit it, the reaction, the full three-parter, with different reaction clips. You're getting me too worked up, Jack. I can't think about this. Scary pineapple, that is terrifying. This is nightmare fuel. But thank you so much for the super chat. So glad you're enjoying Deep Space Nine. It's been stated so many times how rough the first 2 seasons can be at times. Glad you're sticking with it. I'm so excited to see you guys enjoy the upcoming epicness. Yeah, it's really funny because probably not a surprise to Deep Space Nine fans, but our enjoyment of this show greatly spikes with episode 19 Duet. And up until that point, there are some highlights. Definitely there are some highlights. But up until that point, it's a slog. And watching them come out on YouTube and everyone being so, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, nervous or being very apprehensive about how we're not enjoying the show, it gives me small vibes of Battlestar Galactica when we watch that first season. Except I think people are more self-aware with this show that the first season isn't great. So there's a little bit of leeway. But still, just seeing in the comments people being like, I don't know, it's funny knowing that our enjoyment of the show spikes after episode 19. Now we haven't seen that much past episode 19. We've seen episode 19, 20, and then the three-parter. So it could go back to not being good, in which case we won't like it. But at least so far, yeah, we really enjoy it. And yeah, so it's a little bit ironic. Not really ironic. I guess it's what people would expect. Want to give a shout out to Aaron. Just became a $10 member, an audience member over on the Patreon. Thank you so much, Aaron. Appreciate that. And just as a little update here, I know on a previous live stream I talked a little bit about a new Patreon goal now that we hit our previous one. Right now, we are currently at 1,530 overall paid members. Now, you can sign up as a free member over on Patreon. Absolutely. Like I said, you can take part in the Patreon tier list. There are a few public posts we do once in a while. A lot of our Star Trek edits that you see as shorts here hit Patreon first publicly. So you can sign up for free. But as far as paid members, we're at 1,530. When we hit 2,000, we're going to be setting up a goal for when we hit 2,000. I don't know what that goal is yet. I'm still farming ideas. So if anyone wants to throw in ideas in the chat of what could be that goal. Now, the one thing I would ask is don't make I'm not going to do a goal that's watching a whole series. That's just too big of a commitment. But if it's a one-off reaction or if it's something else, something else special that we would usually always say no to doing, something that would, be incentivizing enough for you, someone who's not on Patreon with us right now, to help us get to that goal. That's something that I want to set up. So I just haven't found the right thing yet. But that's in the works. And 470 members is a long way to go. So it's not something we're going to be hitting tomorrow. So I'm not too worried about it yet. But it is something I want to get set up. Wrestle a patron. Can you work, brother? Well, we can only work together if you can work. Can you bump? Goal is once a month live watch-alongs. I don't think we will ever do a live first-time reaction again. But like we did on my birthday with the Power Rangers movie, I would definitely be down for once a month watch-alongs of just, stuff we've already seen just as a fun time watching a movie together. I would be totally down for that. First-time reactions, I think it's just in a live format for the type of reactions we do. I just don't think it's the best fit. And then you also have the downside of something like Hunt for Red October where, that's why I banned it in the first place. Like, I don't want anyone to have to sit through 2.5 hours of us just not enjoying a movie at all. And, of course, in the future, I could always just turn it off or, we can make it audible. But I don't really think it's, especially Star Trek. I would never do that with Star Trek because it's just too big of a risk to mess up the reaction. But it's like a once a time month movie to watch along. I could be down for that. Or if it was something like I said earlier about the Bridge Crew, like watching movies together, I'd be down for that. Just not in something that's like definitely not a first time reaction that we're going to put on YouTube. But when we were doing the movies, they were not being edited. They were just full on cuts on Patreon. So it was a little more open to doing them live. But even then, we just had some technical issues and I don't know if it's worth it. Siddhartha, thank you for the super chat. Was Alex mad the 3-part had more Bajor and politics? I talked about this a little bit earlier, but no, not in general, no. Now, had it been bad, then yes, he probably would have been more mad, but it wasn't bad, so. I am so waiting for you to react to DS9 Season 1, Episode 19. It may not be considered the best, but it's easily my favorite. Yeah, well, it'll be coming in just a couple of weeks. As far as the YouTube edition, YouTube cut, that'll be coming soon. I hope it does well. For as much as people love it, I hope it does well. The Inner Light didn't do that especially well on YouTube, surprisingly. So, hope it does well. You have said that Arrival was a favorite movie and that Alex hasn't seen it. That is not true. Alex has seen Arrival. Would you consider doing it as a reaction and watching it with him? Absolutely, I would watch it with him, but he has seen Arrival. So I don't know if that was, maybe I was talking about something else, but he has seen it. I mean, it's been a long time since he saw it. He probably saw it in theaters and didn't really think about it again, but he has seen it. Reaction to Frame of Mind was in a word epic. Well, thank you. Loved Frame of Mind. And that can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me again? I don't know what the last thing you heard was, but Star Trek 3, yeah, really enjoyed it. Got a couple more super chats here. Or it looks like I just missed one here from All New Doctor Who Book Club podcast. Did you notice Lore and Zordon share an HQ building? Yeah, I don't say it in the reaction, and I wasn't confident enough to point it out because I wasn't sure, but I was like, that looks really familiar. That might be the Power Rangers building, and apparently it is, which is hilarious. IMDb rates episode 18 the best in season 1. You got to be meaning episode 19. I'm assuming. I, maybe you're going off of counting the premiere as just one episode, which would make Duet episode 18. I'm guessing you're talking about Duet, which, yeah, I get it. I get it if that's the case. I don't care what IMDb or really anywhere else ranks anything, but it's a fun fact. Josh, when the sound fell, yeah. I was reading your lips. You said you love Star Trek 6. Yeah, I'll only ever say that if I'm muted. What's the best is because we still commonly troll Star Trek 6 and we, very frequently bring it up in our discussions, Star Trek discussions, even other discussions too. And I just love when someone will then comment, on like this reaction and discussion about a completely different episode, and we bring up Star Trek 6 for a moment, and then the people comment still defending Star Trek 6, like as if we're going to change our mind. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Siddhartha, which is better overall, Deep Space Nine season 1 or TNG season 1? So here's the camp that I'm in. There are a few episodes. I would say there are. There are 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine season 1. I won't reveal what those are yet. 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine season 1 that are better than my favorite episode of TNG season 1, which is Heart of Glory. So in that way, Deep Space Nine has the higher high. But overall, I personally, in an episodic show, enjoy variance and things being different. And I say this all the time. I would rather a season of a show that has amazing episodes and shit episodes, and you don't know what you're going to get, versus Deep Space Nine season 1, which outside of a few episodes was basically all low C, in my opinion. It's just like, yeah, this was passable TV. I can tell they're trying to build up these characters, but don't know what to do yet. The scripts are weak. The stories are bad. I would prefer that TNG style of season 1, where the show was mostly bad and it was insane. And some of the episodes are like, "Are you on crack? What are you doing?" Kind of similar. If like Deep Space Nine, if like 6 or 7 of those episodes were removed and replaced with ones as bad as Move Along Home, that would have actually been more enjoyable because it would have been like, "What the hell is this?" But with the way that it's set, if you're just talking about a season as a whole, I would rather go back and rewatch TNG season 1 it's kind of like this fever dream of what was this, that what they were, Gene was still involved heavily in, like, when they were trying to, Picard is a headache, all this stuff. Riker is a, no beard, versus Deep Space Nine season one, which I'm just bored out of my mind for like 80% of it. With that being said, that might change as I watch Deep Space Nine, because my thoughts on TNG season one have obviously changed as I've continued to watch the show. So that's my answer. If you had to pin me against a wall and say, which one do I prefer? I prefer TNG season one. But that doesn't mean that I think it's a better TV show. If you're asking what's a better TV show, yeah, I guess Deep Space Nine is more passable episode by episode, but I don't really care about mediocre passable TV. That's not what I'm into. So that's my answer. Badger liked Star Trek 6 until I watched your reaction. Thanks for that. Your mind should never be swayed based on our reaction if it's something you personally like. Now, my goal is, if you don't like something, or maybe not actively dislike it, but if you like aren't, you don't really care about the bonding, you don't really care about lessons, my goal is, hey, maybe look at our perspective and appreciate some new stuff about it. I love when I hear that. But it's never the other way around. My reaction to something, it shouldn't affect, like if I love a movie, if someone watches one of my favorite movies, Arrival, Willy Wonka, Psycho, and they go, "This movie's a piece of shit," like, I'll think that's funny and I'll hear their reasoning, but that doesn't affect my enjoyment of it or why I enjoy things. And the more I read from people, I actually think this is a very interesting topic. The more I like get into this community and everything, and just in general with reactions and movie reviews, I find it very interesting how people so often, like, they tie their opinion of something to if they think it's good, which, like, is obvious, right? But it's just very interesting to me, like with this Superman movie, for example, that just came out. The huge discourse on that is like, if you like something, that must mean it's because you think it's objectively good and everyone should like it. Or if you dislike something, that's because you think it's objectively bad and no one should like it. I don't come at my opinions that way. Like, I don't tie my opinions to, like, thinking of the film like that, or TV show, or whatever. I just don't really understand that. And I find much more interest in, like, discussing why do I like something and you don't, or vice versa. So that's been like the biggest whiplash for me of getting into something like this. Like, we do reactions, but we obviously have a heavier focus on the critique side than a lot of reaction channels. And that's been a really interesting point, is, you know, someone, thinking that there's a correct opinion about art, because I don't think anything about any form of art is objective. Even art forms like film or music, where you can go to school and learn how to do things. I think you could watch something that's created by a director like Martin Scorsese, and then you can, like, watch something that a 16-year-old made on their iPhone. And if you come away enjoying the iPhone 16-year-old's short film more, that's completely valid. Like, it doesn't matter objectively, like, how it's supposed to be created. I just don't really understand that viewpoint. Um, anyway, that's not at all what you were saying, Badger. You just launched me into that with your message because I go off on tangents. But I hope you still enjoy Star Trek Six, because that's not the point of us shitting on things. But I hope that makes sense to everyone. Bryce says, "I like you, but I hate you, but we're exactly the same. That's why I hate you." That's when you know you're a true member of this audience. That's when you know you fit in. Ricky, to go off the previous question, which pilot episode do you like more, TNG or Deep Space Nine? Deep Space Nine. I think Emissary. I like Emissary more than Encounter at Farpoint. Even at the time watching Encounter at Farpoint, I remember being like, okay, that was interesting. Like, I don't think I like cared for the episode. I was just swept up in being so excited to start the show that I actually remember so watching Encounter at Farpoint and overall enjoying the characters and everything and being like, okay, well now I'm just ready for a regular episode. And then watching The Naked Now and being like, oh. Which if you go back and watch our reactions, it doesn't really come through that much because we're just so excited to watch it, which is fair. But no, definitely the Emissary I like better. I mean, the story is better. It's a really neat sci-fi story. I love all the characters being set up. Um, is it the best? No, I don't even really consider it that good, but definitely better than Encounter at Farpoint. Reality Strikes, another super chat. Thank you so much. After you finish TNG, are you going to have a reaction videos to the special features? Maybe. I mean, definitely we'll have some reaction videos to some extra stuff. I don't know. I'm still not thinking about what that stuff will be. We'll take recommendations probably from our patrons, for sure. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. Josh, what's your favorite of the original movies? For me, it's Wrath of Khan, not just my favorite Trek movie, but one of my top 5 sci-fi movies. Yeah, for me, it's absolutely Search for Spock. Search for Spock is my favorite Star Trek movie by far. Of the TOS ones, obviously, I haven't seen any of the TNG ones. My hope would be that one of the TNG ones will supplant it, hopefully. But Search for Spock for me is just it's so much higher than anything else. And then my next one would then be the motion picture, then the Voyage Home. Actually, no, yeah, Voyage Home and Wrath of Khan are like they're so different. It's like what kind of movie do you want to watch? They're so different, but they're kind of on that same level. And then 5, and then 6. I never want to watch 6 again in my life. It's too triggering. Badger, thanks for the super chat. That was sarcasm. LOL. I don't like Star Trek 6 because they make my personal hero Kirk look terrible. Yeah, and I know it was I wasn't sure, but yeah, it being sarcasm, I totally understand. I just sometimes it reminds me of something or makes me think of something, and I go off on a tangent. Not even directly related to the message. So I appreciate it, and thank you for the super chat. But I appreciate the you bringing that up because it led to a good conversation. That's what it's all about. Are you considering doing Columbo reactions? A few episodes of TOS guests. Columbo is definitely something that's been brought up a lot and would not be against a one-off reaction here or there someday down the line. Not something that's on our schedule or on our agenda, but wouldn't be against it. You like First Contact the best? Yeah, and no, that's not a spoiler. I do know all of the TNG movie titles. So just the title itself isn't a spoiler, and saying what you like or don't like is not a spoiler either. So yeah, that's I appreciate that you like First Contact the best. That's good to hear. I wonder, a lot of people I feel like found Star Trek with the TOS films or with TNG. So I wonder how the TNG films stack up because I haven't really heard anything about any of them except for Nemesis not being a favorite, I guess. Siddhartha, what DS9 character you think will get the most character development? Who do you want to? There's at least 15 DS9 characters that get massive development. Massive, huh? Well, who do I think and who do I want to? That's a good distinction. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. My favorite character through season 1 is Kira, but part of the reason she's my favorite character so far is because she already feels like the most fleshed out and interesting. So, not that I wouldn't want her to be developed, I definitely do, but who I really, really do want to be more developed is Dax because I just feel like it's such an interesting character with the trill aspect, and I'm so interested in that like when they don't really talk about it, it's like guys, it's a trill. Can we get more into this? Even her own episode Dax on season 1, we didn't really learn that much, And in late season 1 / early season 2, there's already been a few lore drops about Dax. We learn about Tobin Dax, a little bit, and I appreciate all that. So I hope there's more development there. As far as who I think, of course, I'm just going to guess Cisco. He's the main character, he's the commander, so I'm going to guess that he gets most screen time, and then probably Odo is the data, so it's easy to have more focused on that. Michael Nemo, thank you very much for the super chat. I see Emissary as an homage to The Cage. Leaders not wanting their post, leaders having trauma from a mission, aliens making leaders relive trauma. That's a really good comparison, actually. The Cage obviously didn't end up being the official pilot or premiere of TOS, but it was the original pilot, and I think it's a good episode. So yeah, that's a good point, actually. Thank you. To be honest with you, if we're counting The Cage as the pilot, it might be my favorite pilot so far. I really enjoyed it. DS9 had nearly twice the budget per episode than TNG. Do you think this comes through at all? I definitely think it comes through in the set design. Obviously, the spaceship is massive and crazy, right? And then also the makeup and like so many aliens in the background that you can tell just had to go through hours of makeup to walk past the camera. Like just stuff like that. I really love the attention to detail. So far, have I seen that come through in like the episode plots? No. Or like giant guest stars? No. Except for maybe Picard and the pilot. But it doesn't surprise me though. John, when you start doing horror again, would you consider The Witch 2015? I had to turn it off a couple of times because it disturbed me too much. Put it on your list. So here's the thing with The Witch, or I think it might be pronounced The Vavitch, right? 2 V's. I saw The Witch in theaters when it released and absolutely hated it. I believe it's Robert Eggers, right? His first film. However, when I went and saw it, I wasn't in the current like mindset of film that I am now, where between 2015 and now, I've seen probably close to 1,000 movies. So like my mindset now is just like wanting unique experiences, or traditional experiences of genres just done really well. And The Witch might have just been something I wasn't ready for as a 19 or 20-year-old. So I want to rewatch it. With that being said, though, I'll just be upfront. When it comes to elevated horror, like I love Hereditary, but elevated slow burn horror is not always my favorite. What I tend to love is like something like Hereditary is like a very slow burn, metaphorical, psychological horror film with some supernatural elements. But then when it gets to that third act, it loses its fucking mind and like makes you feel like sitting through that whole movie was worth it. And that's why I think it's still Ari Aster's best film. Because then you go to Midsommar and it's just like all of that of Hereditary without the payoff, where it's just a slow burn trauma fest the entire film, and then it ends and you go, oh, well, that was fucking horrific to sit through. And I still like Midsommar as a film, but I think the one thing people didn't like about Hereditary was actually the fact that it like did have that ending. It did have the more like mainstream horror movie ending, but I thought that's what made it perfect, is that you sat through this like realistic, grounded, traumatic film, and then at the end it's like, oh yeah, holy shit, this is a horror film, and it goes crazy. And I think that's great. So something like The Witch is more like in the Midsommar camp, where like, yeah, there's payoffs and there's horror moments, but it's very, very like dark and just like trauma filled, and then it just kind of ends. And like there's an ending, there's stuff that happens, but it's just like, it's like, damn, that's a lot. You talk about turning it off twice. It's like, damn, yeah, that's a lot of trauma, and I don't feel like I really got the release. I guess that's what I look for in films, is like, I want you to take me through the shit, take me through the ringer, but give me that release at the end of all of the tension and emotion I've built up watching it. That's what I really love about horror, when it can do that, because then you leave feeling like, oh, that was an experience, instead of like leaving him just feeling uncomfortable. That's just my personal preference, though. A lot of people are the exact opposite, so both are valid. Yeah, Webb points out it's also a period piece, which is not my thing. I can get into period pieces. There are some that I really love, but overall, it's not Not my typical thing. Think we got some more super chats. Michael Nemo. Oh, I already read that one, but thank you again. Sixto Reynoso. Sixto, $20 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Bridge crew member. I feel like Deep Space Nine was riding on the fact that TNG was 7 seasons guaranteed, and it feels like the direction was take your time on fleshing out the characters. As far as their approach on season 1, maybe. Yeah, that's a totally fair point. If they felt confident that they were going to have the time, then I totally respect that. The only thing I'll push back on that is the generic tones of the plots and episodes, where if they were that confident, then why wouldn't season 1 all be just like deep character building? Because we get like 3 or 4 good character building episodes, and then the rest are just like rejected TNG episodes. So that's my only complaint with that mindset, but I think maybe you're definitely onto something there for sure. I also think when they were making the show, like, look, I think these people think they're making good TV. Like, I don't think they're putting it out and going, "Oh, this is boring," but oh well, it's season 1. Like, I think they think it's good, but then they just have, then they make the later show and they go, "Oh, this is better." So, thank you for the super chat very much. All-time favorite Star Trek director is Ralph Senensky, TOS. Then, if you're talking TNG, my favorite one is probably um, it's between Jonathan Frakes and Winrick Colby. Cliff Banger, of course. Cliff Bull is up there. Those are probably the top 3. Jonathan Frakes, Colby, Cliff Banger. But Ralph Senensky still takes it over the top. My favorite director. If you're talking the movies, it's obviously Leonard Nimoy. Come on. Come on. Least favorite Star Trek director, Nicholas Meyer. Love it. Love every minute of it. I like this one. Please stop after Enterprise. Love your content. What a great combo there of sentences. We're not going to stop, but I have said in the past, when we get to that point, especially Enterprise, where Voyager has ended and we're just watching Enterprise, it's going to be solely based on the audience size and retention as far as the focus of it. So what I mean by that is, like, we're still going to be watching it, but maybe by the time we get to Enterprise, the Star Trek journey isn't the one and only flagship of the channel. Like, when we started watching Star Trek, when we started watching TOS, we had plenty of other things going on. We actually still, right now, we have a lot going on, to be honest with you. But on the YouTube side, at least, Star Trek is the absolute focus, and it's going to stay that way. Once we get to that point where it's just Enterprise, if the numbers are stagnating, if they're not, growing consistently, like, we're going to be doing a lot of other things, but it's not going to stop. So once we finish Enterprise, when we get into the Kelvin timeline and all of that, we're watching all of it. That's guaranteed. It's just a matter of, like, how much is it still the one-stop shop on our channel versus, like, how much more are we doing? Because, let's just be real. I don't think Enterprise and then the Kelvin timeline and all that. I think the movies will get good views, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a community as this is. So we have to prepare for that. But that's all very, for right now at least, still long down the road. So I'm not too worried about it. But we will be watching all of it. And I'm really excited for the current stuff, both the stuff that people seem to like Lower Decks. I know has a pretty big, I don't know, big, but pretty passionate community. Strange New Worlds, it seems people have liked, and we'll even have a few new Star Trek shows and stuff by the time we get there. And then for the stuff people don't like, it's a win-win, because either we end up liking it and we get to be contrarian, or we get to shit on it, which we love to do. So it's going to be a win-win. X-Files Twin Peaks reaction would be hype. X-Files is confirmed happening. So that is, the X-Files is coming to the channel. I just don't know when or how. I think I talked about this on a previous stream, but the thing with X-Files is I want to watch it, I don't want to say I'm going to commit to watching the whole series yet, but like I want to watch it as if it's its own series, not select episodes for the horror gallery. But with already doing the horror gallery as a secondary thing, then also doing the X Files would be tough to fit all of that unless the X Files was voted on by the Bridge Crew, because we do a Bridge Crew Patreon exclusive reaction series. Right now, we are in the 3rd season of The Expanse. We do a vote every season so far. They've done 3 votes, and it's been Expanse season 1, 2, and 3. So if the X Files were to be voted, then we'd watch season 1. But otherwise, even if it never gets voted there, I still want to watch it. I'm figuring out how to do that. I mean, it's 45-minute episodic episodes, so it's a lot. And it's, like Star Trek, 26, 25, whatever it is, episodes per season. That's a lot. So I don't want to say post Star Trek. That seems really far. But we'll figure it out. As far as Twin Peaks, yeah, that's probably going to be something we watch as well at some point. Sopranos, Alex has already watched. I have never seen The Sopranos, so maybe I can react to it one day. But serialized dramas like that, I don't know how serialized Sopranos is, to be fair. I've never seen it, but like serialized dramas or something like The Wire or something like that, I just find harder to react to. Webb, I just try to make sure you're going to say to watch the X Files at least once per stream. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, absolutely. Prodigy, yeah, that's a show I completely forget about. I don't know where that is in the release order. I don't know when it came out, but that's one I always forget about too. I worry that I won't watch Discovery or Picard or Strange New Worlds again with you. Hey, brother, you got to do you. And again, that's why it's my hope that by that time Michael, you've been around with us forever, so I appreciate all the support you've already given. But if you do still watch us at that time, I mean, hopefully we can come up with other content that you do want to watch. Like that's the whole goal. Because I know that there's a big part of the Star Trek community that doesn't like that new stuff, and I want to be able to find stuff that y'all do like and want to watch with us while we're also doing that. And then maybe you can pop in and watch maybe our reviews or discussions or season recaps or whatever to see what we think of it. But you're not going to watch every episode with us. I get it. Or maybe you change your mind and say screw it. Maybe you will. I mean, I would like to think that our reactions are either funny or entertaining enough to watch it, not just solely based on how much you like the thing, but I'm also not ignorant. I know that that's what reaction content is. It's based off the thing you're watching, so I get it. Ty says down for the entire journey. Based. W Ty. Let's give it up for number 1 top fan here on the stream as Reality Strikes, then Michael Nemo number 2, and Z Thomas 1 and number 3. I haven't even seen it. Was Z Thomas in here chatting a lot? I haven't even seen him. Maybe try the Orville. We are going to watch the Orville as well. Down the line, that's something we'll watch. All right, y'all. Well, this has been a fun stream. I'm going to be wrapping it up here in a minute. If you're new here, if this is your first stream, we always end. I answer the most ridiculous question. If it's not Star Trek related, it's even better chance I'll answer it because I want it to be completely random and ridiculous. So you can go ahead and put in those final questions. And also, if you have any last super chat you'd like to send in, I'd appreciate it. I'll read all super chats as they come in here in the next few minutes, and then we'll wrap up. Been a great stream. Appreciate you guys being here. Shout out again to Aaron for signing up over on the Patreon. We'll come up with a goal soon for that 2,000 number. So any ideas, feel free to comment on our videos, comment over on Patreon, send us a message there. Got another super chat from Reality Strikes. Thanks, man. You've donated a lot to this stream. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to watch you shit on Discovery. I mean, hey, you know us. If it's bad, we will. But if we like it, we will say that too. We will be honest. I definitely don't want to go in promising we're going to be shitting on anything because we might not. What's for dinner? I don't know what's for dinner actually. Had pizza yesterday, so I don't know. You often wear a Disney World T-shirt and reactions. What is your favorite Disney World ride, show, and bite to eat? Good question. Yeah, big Disney World fan. Favorite park is Epcot, and my favorite ride is Spaceship Earth. Magical. As far as show, probably Carousel Progress and Magic Kingdom. I mean, that's a classic. And then as far as a bite to eat, I'll give you two because the first one I don't know if it really counts, but they just opened up a cake bake shop, which is a restaurant that was from Indiana that me and my wife had went to one year. They opened it up at the Boardwalk Resort in Disney World, and we went there last time we went to Disney. And delicious, amazing restaurant. But that's not really a Disney restaurant. That's just a restaurant that already existed that they opened a location at the Boardwalk Resort. So that's a little bit different. Favorite bite to eat as far as inside of the park. Uh, there's a lot of good stuff, but if I had to think, if I had to choose just one, I would probably say Ohana, the Ohana restaurant at the I think it's at the Polynesian Resort. Amazing, amazing. Went there this last time, sat at the bar, spent like over $100 on food and drinks. Amazing. Thank you, Katie, for the super chat. You could do episodes of the X Files in the Horror Gallery, but instead of doing random, you could do them in release order, limited amount of apps. Okay, yeah. So don't do them randomly, do them in order, but mix them into the Horror Gallery. So it's just at a slower pace, basically. Yeah, you know what? I think that could be a great idea maybe to start with it. Like, oh, let's watch episode 1, let's watch episode 2, and then if we get that, if they do well, and if people maybe, like them on YouTube, sign up on Patreon and want more, it could then branch out into its own separate entity. That's a really good idea. I appreciate that, Katie. Maybe we will do that sooner rather than later. But I definitely want to at least get through this first real season of Horror Gallery with the shows we've already picked as like the lineup. Tales from the Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, Twilight Zone, original Twilight Zone 80s, The Outer Limits from the 60s, Night Gallery. Those lineup of shows. I'm probably missing some. Freddy's Nightmares, Friday the 13th. Select episodes of those like we have been doing for sure. But then, yeah, maybe we could mix X Files in there. Of course, if the Bridge Crew ever votes for it, then then there you go. We're watching a season of it. But good point. All right, I think that was the last super chat, and now let me pick a random question. All right, I see a few of them here, so let's start out. Dark Storm, tell us in detail what's your favorite cheese. Okay. This is probably a basic pick. Sharp cheddar is up there, okay? But like this is probably a little bit of a basic pick, but I'm gonna go with pepper jack, all right? Because not only is it a great cheese base, but also it gives it just that little bit of spice, with the pepper jack. Like it's not a spicy cheese, really. It's not gonna like make your mouth burn, but like just that little bit of extra flavor. I love that about pepper jack. So I'm a pepper jack guy for sure. Um, Also, low key underrated, just the neon yellow fake like nacho cheese that you can put with nachos on chili dogs, whatever. That's a very versatile cheese as well. S1, milk then cereal or cereal then milk? 100% cereal then milk. What are you doing? If you pour milk first, don't talk to me. What is that? Where's the cat been? Boo is his name, King Boo, and he's been around. He's chilling. he doesn't come downstairs anymore because unfortunately he tries to knock over our camera tripods, and that would be very damaging. And so he doesn't come down as much. But yeah, he's chilling. He's still around. Mesa TV, the Nexus here. I miss the skits. I miss them too, man. I miss them too. That's all I can really say about it. But at the end of the day, we're a reaction channel first, and we got to focus on getting the reactions out. But I miss them too. We'll maybe work on some writing, get some stuff done. But thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I don't know what I'm going to jail for. Is it the cheese, the cereal? I don't know. How do you join the Bridge Crew? You join it over on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/target audience and you join the Bridge Crew. It's the highest tier of the Patreon. There's also the audience member tier, which is the introductory basic tier. You get all the uncut reactions. Target demographic is in the middle. It comes with 1 day early access to all the reactions, as well as some other special perks like your name and the credits of the videos. You know, the names that you see in our YouTube videos, those are all target demographic or higher, as well as being part of the movie lotteries when we're able to do them. So there's just a few extra perks. You get your own chat room on the Patreon. And then the Bridge Crew, you get that access to the private Discord server. You get to talk to Alex and I. And we do monthly hangouts in there as well, video hangouts. We also have you get a special thank you video from us when you sign up, even if it's just for 1 month. And if you sign up annually, then you get a movie reaction request, full watch along reaction on the Patreon to any non-Star Trek movie that's under 3 hours over on the Patreon. So we're still working our way through those, so it takes a while. It doesn't come, within a week, but we're working through those. But that's how you do it. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for being on this stream with me today. Impromptu stream. I think it went really well. Had a lot of fun questions, fun discussion. So thank you. I'm going to go back to editing videos so I can get 3 episodes up on YouTube again this week and not fall behind again. So wish me luck on that. Plus, stay tuned in the coming weeks. Soon, hopefully, is the first teaser for the return of the Horror Gallery. So stay tuned for that. And appreciate everyone for being here. I'll see y'all later. Have a great day.